Starbucks. Oh, Starbucks is like my burst of joy that I get to have every single day. Mostly, actually. I have Starbucks almost every day. But for sure, minimum 4 times a week. Alright. I think we are ready! Why, hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Your Next Level with your coach and your host, Jasmine. We should all just take a moment to just take a few deep breaths. I don't know about you, but the last several weeks for me, and also within my own clients' world, has been a lot of internal shifting, has been a lot of kind of internal chaos, as well as maybe just some turbulence and feeling like the foundation isn't as solid as it once has been. So just take a moment to take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, and really check in with yourself. I want you to ask the question, how am I doing really? And an emphasis on the really part, because it's so easy to be, how are you doing? Good. Well, that's good. Good. And you don't actually get to the core of how you're actually feeling, and you don't actually allow yourself to check in deeper and actually get to know what is going on within your own internal state. So please do yourself a favor before really diving into this week's episode and allow yourself to just check in. Check-ins are so essential in order for us to move forward, because if we aren't taking inventory of what's actually going on and we constantly bypass the internal noise and we constantly bypass the internal sensations and emotions that are going on, then later on down the road, we're gonna end up reaching that roadblock and we're gonna have to deal with it later. So you might as well deal with it right now. And as for today's episode, you guys, I'm really excited for this topic. I was on a client call on Sunday, and this was something that we dived into, and I'm like, I am so excited to share this with other members of my audience, because I don't think that this is something that's talked about enough. So today's episode is based around this essence of you are unbecoming while simultaneously becoming. And not enough people are talking about the process of letting go of the old self and grieving the old self while also becoming the new self all at the same time. This is something that continuously happens within the same moment, within the same actions. We are letting go of the old, we are welcoming in the new, we're letting go of the old, we're welcoming in the new. But if we're constantly trying to compound all of this new stuff, this new version of ourselves, without letting go of old versions of self, then you kind of end up with this muddled mess. You end up kind of in a confusion state, in a frustration state, in this constant battle of old identity and new identity. So I wanted to let you know that this is a component to just kind of become aware of within your own psyche, of being okay, while I'm in the process of becoming this version of myself, I'm also in the process of letting go of this old version of myself. So what exactly does it mean to unbecome? Because for some of you, this may be a new terminology that you're hearing. So unbecoming, for me, and the way that I interpret it, is it's unlearning, undoing. So no longer taking part in the same type of actions, no longer taking part in the same type of behaviors, no longer taking part in the same type of thought patterns, kind of letting that version of ourselves go that's hanging on, that's resisting, that's holding on to things that are no longer serving you, right? Because it's so easy to come into the space of conscious awareness and to realize the things that you want to let go of and not let go of them. Instead, you put your attention elsewhere in hopes that eventually this will all sort itself out. But when you know so deeply in your core, in your intuition, that this is the thing that you have to let go of, that this is the thing you have to no longer let be a part of your existence and your experience right now, you have to be the one to take that responsibility and to let it go. And so many of us can get in this space, right, where we're doing the affirmations, we're doing the mantras, we're doing the inner work, but yet we're still taking part in actions and in behaviors that aren't serving our highest good. So my personal experience with struggling with the unbecoming while simultaneously becoming is, for example, I was doing all of the affirmations, right? I was doing the mindset work, but yet I wasn't taking any action. I wasn't allowing myself to evolve from this version of myself that was stagnant, and I was just doing the affirmation work, sitting there, waiting for things to happen for me without actually doing anything tangible to move the needle in my life. Now, that's not to say that doing mindset work doesn't give you tangible or actual manifestations to come into your life, but the law of attraction and welcoming in things to your life does not happen without some type of action. And I struggled with this for quite some time, most of 2020 and parts at the beginning of this year where it was just like stuck in the space of like, I'm just gonna slap these affirmations on, I'm just kind of do my shadow alchemy work, but not letting go of the part of me that wasn't taking action, that wasn't letting myself be seen, that wasn't doing my work, instead remaining victim to why aren't these things coming into my life? I'm doing the mindset work, why aren't these things landing in my lap and like magically there's sparkles and glitter and all these fantastic things happening? So one thing that happened for my clients this weekend that we were talking about in this essence of unbecoming while simultaneously becoming was recognizing that she wants more confidence, and she's working on the mindset of confidence, and she's working on this essence of feeling good, yet she's holding on to a relationship that she knows does not serve her. When she's in the presence of this person, she spirals back, you know, she feels small, she feels insecure, but yet part of her keeps holding on to that relationship while simultaneously trying to grow in confidence, and it's just not working because this is being such a hard anchor and such a hard pull down and pulling her back into the old version that she's been. So in order for her to actually elevate herself into her next level, she has to let go of the version of herself that's holding on to this relationship. And oftentimes letting go, you guys, in this process of unbecoming and undoing is really scary, and that's why most of us don't do it and don't reach those next levels and next levels and next levels of ourselves, because letting go of what's familiar is scary as fuck. So that means you are being left to dive into the unknown, and in the unknown we don't know what to expect. In the unknown, we don't know what we're gonna feel. We don't know what the outcome's gonna be. We don't know who we're gonna be. And that can be very, very scary for our conscious awareness, but also very, very scary for our subconscious mind. So most of us hit the ceiling, right? We hit the ceiling of not being able to tap into our next level because we have this fear, right? This is a huge thing that comes up too in the process of unbecoming, is it's this fear of the unknown, of this fear of this new version of ourselves. But that's simply not the case. The most exciting and elevated things that we get to experience are the things, or when we actually finally detach from versions of ourselves that we have been, when we finally detach from behaviors and relationships that are no longer serving us, when we finally detach from workplace situations and allow ourselves to move forward. Because otherwise, when we're in this process of trying to become and then yet we're still stuck in like not allowing ourselves to unbecome, we get stuck in the middle, you know? Like the best way to describe this essence is this constant tug of war where I'm being pulled back here, but then I'm being pulled forward here, and then I'm being pulled back there. So do an inventory check for yourself and allow yourself to check in to see what is it that I need to let go of in order to actually allow myself to become this version of myself that I'm really striving to be. Now, this may look, for some people, it may look like belief systems, it may look like relationships, it may look like behaviors, it may look like action or habits, whatever habits. It may look like certain habits that you're doing. And those are the things that are calling to your attention right now. Those are the things that are needing you to detach in order for you to step into that next level that you're craving to step into. And I know you want this, you know, I know you want to step into this version of yourself that feels empowered as fuck, that is calling in that abundance, that is feeling alive, that's having the flourishing relationships, that's feeling really good about herself. But it's really hard to fully embody that version of ourselves when we're so stuck in being pulled down by this other stuff over here that we know it's there, but we're not doing anything about it, right? And again, this is no shame. We're all in there, and with every single level that we end up going into, there's a new part of ourselves. Well, not necessarily a new, but another part of ourselves that we have to unbecome from, that we have to unlearn, that we have to undo. So it's, if you can prepare yourself for these level ups and remind yourself that, okay, if I really want to become this version of me, what is it that I have to let go of? What is it that I have to unlearn? What is it that I have to shift within myself in order to allow myself to cultivate and embrace this version of myself that I want to be and I know I'm capable of being? Okay, I'm gonna take a quick sip here of my Starbucks drink because that made me thirsty. I hope that this is landing for you guys, and if you feel after this podcast episode or watching this YouTube video that you're like, hey Jazz, this still doesn't fully make sense to me, I'm not fully grasping this concept, go ahead, slide into my DMs, we can chit chat over voice memo, and I can try to break it down to you or try to help you get a little bit more clarity around your specific situation and what it is that you need to unbecome from. Or if you want to dive deeper into that essence, I also offer one-on-one coaching sessions as well as one-on-one monthly packages that we can do together as well, as we can continue to unpack the parts of yourself that you need to let go of. So other thing that I wanted to tap into is like, how do we unbecome and unlearn? Like, what are some tangible things that we can do? And you know, the first and foremost, you guys, is cultivating that awareness, right? We don't know what we don't know. So when we're able to take that inventory and we're able to look at ourselves and get really fucking honest, okay? Get really fucking honest with where you're at and realize what is of service to me and what is not of service to me. And those things that are no longer serving you, those are the things you need to take action on. Those are the things that are requiring your attention that you need to let go of in order to go from here to there, okay? And other things to do, you guys, are always somatic. Like, for those of you who are very familiar with my work, I talk about somatics, I talk about breath, I talk about nervous system regulation, I talk about dance. Because if we're only doing things from a mental place and we're not doing it from an energetic or being in the body, then again, you're gonna keep reaching those ceilings and you're gonna have a really hard time tapping into that next level. So make sure that when you're working on yourself, you're not just doing it from that space, you're doing some type of body work. So for me personally, I love dance, I love stretching, I love breathing. Those are all things that massively ground me into my body and allow me to make a lot more empowered decisions, but also allow me to kind of like tap into my heart, tap into my intuition, tap into my own inner knowing, so I can move forward a lot easier, because it's so easy to be swooped up. Like, when we're constantly living in overthinking land, you guys, up in the mind, then it's really hard to make those shifts within our lives because we're constantly over analyzing what's currently going on within our life. And we're not taking any action because we're just paranoid and fear and overthinking and all that. Oh my God, that, you know, the anxiety, the overwhelm, the frustration, the confusion, when we are just overthinking. So do what you can in your journey to ground yourself back into your body, come back home to yourself, and start to make decisions from that place, okay? Start to make choices that you know are going to benefit you, that you know you've been needing to make, and follow through on them. And also journaling. This is one that a lot of my clients really love doing. Myself personally, I haven't journaled in a hot ass minute. I personally like to just take my work and do body work rather than journaling, but I am being a little bit more curious about doing a little bit more journaling and asking myself deeper questions. And specifically in the group coaching program that I'm in right now, this is something that I'm diving deeper into. And my mommy just came home. You can say hi, Mom. She's showing me something. But anyways, when it comes to stuff like that, you know, finding those practices that, again, allow you to come back home to yourself are going to be super essential when it comes to making these decisions. And at the end of the day, you guys, like, this is never going to be a rat race. This is never going to be something that you're going to cultivate awareness around and that you need to absolutely let go and unbecome everything that you are and everything that you've been doing just at the flick of a switch. It's a process. Life is a marathon. It is never, nor will it ever be, a sprint. This is something that you're going to have to consistently work at, that you're going to have to allow yourself to consistently cultivate the awareness around and allow yourself to move forward and move forward and move forward. And again, you're going to come across resistance, you're going to come across obstacles, you're going to come across stagnancy, but those are not reasons for you to give up. Those are not reasons that the journey is not working, and I'm doing that in quotations here. You know, just because we come across these feelings of confusion or overwhelm or stagnancy or anything like that, it doesn't mean that this process is not working. It simply means maybe something else needs more of your attention. Maybe you need to shift and do something else. Maybe it's a mental resistance that you're creating. Maybe it's a signal for you to come back home to the body and to breathe it out and realize that you are making more out of this situation than what it actually needs to be. So as you move forward and you become and you evolve and you step into that next level version of you, do not forget that while you do that, you simultaneously need to unbecome who you've been. That's what's going to allow you to catapult yourself into the next level, when we can detach and release some of that weight that we've been carrying for so long, to allow ourselves to stand up and elevate into that next level, because that level is waiting for you. But unfortunately, there's not enough room for you and all of those other tendencies and all of those other limiting, you know, belief systems to come with you into that next level. And that's really what this is about. Every time we level up, there's something we need to let go of. Every time we level up, there's something that we need to let go of, something new that we need to incorporate, right? So take a deep breath. You're exactly where you're meant to be. You're doing fantastic. And I seriously mean that from the bottom of my heart, because many of us who are in this personal development space, this is the first time that anyone within our own family lineage has done any of this work. This essence of inner work and spirituality and personal development is really new to human species in general. So give yourself a break as you unlearn not just your own stuff, but you unlearn all the stuff that you've been passed on, that have been passed on to you from generations and generations and generations. And you know, this work isn't necessarily the easiest, you know, it isn't the most simple, but it also doesn't have to be the hardest experience that you've ever had. So if you've really been struggling in this and you're like, I really want to unpack and I'm feeling kind of lost and I don't have a sense of direction that I really want to take myself and I would love some support, then please send me a DM. You know, I'm available on Instagram as well as Facebook. Those are the two main places in which I have points of contact, and let's arrange something. I do offer the one-on-one single coaching sessions, or I do have the monthly one-on-one coaching packages that we can do together. And these are a beautiful opportunity for us to meet every single week for 60 minutes to continuously unpack what it is that's going on, to allow you to release and to welcome in and to cultivate new subconscious programming and to move forward in your life in such an empowering way. And you deserve this more than anything in the world, but you have to be the one to choose it, okay? So anyways, you guys, I'm gonna wrap this podcast up here. We made it. We did it to 16 minutes this week. I am super proud of myself. I'm working on kind of shortcutting these and not making them a half an hour long. But anyways, let me know when it comes to this podcast episode what resonated the most for you. I love it when you guys tag me on Instagram when you guys are listening to the podcast and what your biggest takeaway was. Those are my absolute favorite things. I just love hearing what everyone's chicken nugget was when it comes to these. But anyways, you guys, you have yourself a wonderful week. This is a new month. Set some new intentions, get clear on where you want to take yourself, and allow yourself to go to all the places that you didn't get to go to in April, all right? I mean that both physically, I mean that both energetically, as well as mentally and spiritually. Take yourself where it is that you need to go and enjoy that flush of the toilet, all right? Anyways, you guys, take care. So much love.